Blossom here. Today I'm going to show you my red velvet cake recipe. It's not an easy recipe. You have to be very prim and proper with the measurements and stuff. Before we could start anything, I would suggest you to oil your tin and coat it with flour. So I'm going to bake it in 3 tins. I've already done the prep work for the other 2 tins. And then I've cut a circular piece of baking paper or parchment paper. Coat that also with oil. See, this is not actually required. You just have to apply oil and coat it with flour. It's a precautionary thing so that the cake does not stick in any way to the bottom of the cake pan. So after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dust it with some flour. So I'm going to put some flour here. Just a teaspoon of flour will do. You have to see to it that all the sides of the tin gets coated with flour. So I've prepped the pan. Normally what happens is I forget to prep the pan before in advance, but I still can get away with it because the batter can stay for 5 minutes out as soon as you make the batter. But this, you'll understand what I'm saying. This batter, as soon as you mix it in, you have to pour it into the tin and put it into the oven. It has to be like immediate. You can't keep the batter and all that. So you'll understand once I finish making the recipe. That is why I insist you should first prep the pan. So once the tins are prepped, we need to get the flour ready. Don't mind the noise. The oven is preheating at 180 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes. I've taken 130 grams of flour or 1 cup of flour in a 250 ml cup. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon. If you can see, I'm leveling it with my finger and then I'm adding it. So this is exactly 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of cocoa powder. So this cocoa powder is, you shouldn't put too much of it. What will happen is the red color in the red velvet cake will not be red anymore. It will be maroon. This cocoa powder is added so that it enhances the flavor of the cake, and this you have to sieve it at least 3-4 times and then keep it aside. So that's what I'm going to do now. So now I'm going to crack 4 medium-sized eggs. Now after breaking the 4 eggs, I'm adding 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1 cup of powdered sugar. Because this is not in big granules, I've used just a little less, shy of 1 cup. But if you're using sugar with bigger granules, I would tell you to grind it first in the mixie, measure 1 cup of that in a 250 ml cup and then put it with the eggs, and then we have to beat it up. You have to beat it till it becomes frothy. So some machines it might take at least 5 minutes. It depends on the watts, how powerful your beater is. It's already changing color. It should become like a pale white. I'll show you when I'm done beating it. I whipped it, and if you can see, the color has changed and it forms ripples on the surface. It took me around 3 to 4 minutes to get this done. So I'll be adding 2 tablespoons of oil. 1, 2. So I'm just mixing it. I'm not starting the beater. I'm just mixing it with the beater, and 1 beat. 1, 2. That's it. So that the oil mixes with the batter. Now I'm going to add red food color. This is in powder form. You get this in any bakery store. I've just put around 1/8 teaspoon. Now it depends on how much color you want in the cake. That's why I didn't mix the oil too much, because I knew I'm going to add color and mix it again. I won't add too much because red color tends to become bitter. So this is all I'm going to add. And also while this bakes, it will get darker. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate the flour and then buttermilk. This is where you need to be very gentle. Dig in and rise. Dig in and rise. This is like cut and fold. This is how you're supposed to do it. Why we're doing this is because the egg that we whip shouldn't just, deflate, and then all your hard work will go down the drain. So that's it. And now I've measured 1/4 cup of buttermilk, and I'm just taking half of that and I'm pouring it in. I don't make buttermilk with milk and vinegar. What I do is, like how in India we make buttermilk or chas, what do? We just take yogurt, mix some milk in it and make it a little watery. That's what I've done. I've taken half milk and half yogurt, whipped it together, and I've got 1/4 cup of buttermilk. So now I've taken another third portion of the flour. Again, I'm folding it in very gently. This is exactly the speed at which I'm mixing batter in. I have not speeded the process, nothing. Go dig in, because when you do that, what happens is sometimes the flour just goes and settles down because that's heavier than the egg mixture. So you just do this. So when you dig in, you're getting the flour mixture up. The rest of the buttermilk goes in. Baking is science. You can't just say, oh, 1 gram less, 2 grams less. No, that will make a lot of difference in the chemical process. So fold that in. And last, the leftover flour mixture. It's actually easy to bake a cake, but patience is the key here, and precision. You cannot say, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, can I substitute? Then this is not a recipe for you. Trust me, it actually comes out really well, and it should flow like this. If it flows like this, you've done it correctly. Now to a big spoon, I'm taking half teaspoon of baking soda. Now this is where I told you you need to be prepared with the cake tins, because once we add this baking soda and vinegar mixture, it should be immediately poured into tins. I'm taking 1 teaspoon of vinegar, pouring it onto the spoon, mixing it quickly and pouring it into this batter. If you can see, I'm actually hurrying up. It'll fluff up. This is what makes this cake very soft. And then immediately pour it into your prepared tins. Now, if you wouldn't have prepared your tins, you would have lost the texture. Just break all these air bubbles, or you can even just tap it on your hands. I'm just baking it for 20 minutes. Reduce the temperature to 160 degrees. So as you can see, it has left the edges, and I've put a skewer in it to see whether it is cooked, and it's come out clean, so it's done. So I'm cooling this in the tin for around 5 minutes. It's very hot right now, and then I'll take it out and I'll cool it on a cooling rack. After that, tomorrow I'll be decorating it. I've just run the knife around the cake tin, and it comes out so easily because we did that, and peel off the baking paper. It's a very delicate cake, so handle it with care. This will just break. So I'm slicing through the cake, and be very careful. It is soft, and this is the inside of the cake. Look at the red color. I'll be icing this cake and I'll show you the end product of it. So here's the final result of my red velvet cake. Please do let me know if you try this recipe in the comments below. Until next time, bye.